guys, what is going on? Blossom is back, and welcome back to another episode of Top Drives. We are back with another what can you get from that pack episode. In fact, the pack we're going to review today isn't even in the store yet. We are getting you prepared for the finals. We're getting you prepared early for the finals. Not super early, but like early enough so that the packs aren't even out yet. But the pack that I'm going to be reviewing is indeed the Italian Renaissance rear-wheel drive carbon fiber. Now, I have to say I'm a little bit okay. I can't take all the credit. So basically, when the qualifiers for the Bugatti Chiron, not the Chiron, the Veyron, I don't even know what the prize car is. Is it a Veyron Sport, Super Sport, Grand Sport? Grand Sport. All right, so the Veyron Grand Sport, when the qualifiers came out about 2 weeks ago now, or almost 2 weeks ago, about a week and a half ago, we saw, you know, the prizes, right? It was all Maserati, but the carbon fibers were Italian Renaissance, and I was like, okay, well, it's definitely not a Maserati finals because they will be giving out Maserati packs for that. And I feel like a lot of people still don't know how to, not estimate, but like to educationally guess well enough what the finals are going to be. So my initial thought was like, oh, okay, it's probably going to be Italian saloons. But then I was like, wait, one of the prize cars is a two-seater. And then in the same group chat, Victory, he was like, no, I think it's Italian Renaissance rear-wheel drive, not Italian Renaissance saloons. And I was just like, god damn, he might be right. And yeah, I mean, I thought that was a great guess. So I was like, yeah, it's probably gonna be Italian Renaissance rear-wheel drive. And I've been telling people on my Instagram and everything that I can say with 95% confidence that it is gonna be Italian Renaissance rear-wheel drive. And guess what? It is because you know, I'm sure some of you might know that, you know, some people, they're able to tell you what the requirements are early before the event even comes out, and it has already been confirmed it is Italian Renaissance rear-wheel drive. So with that said, let us review the pack that isn't even in the store yet, but these are the cars that will win you the Veyron 16.4 Grand Sport. So let's get into it. All right, ladies and gents, here we are, the contents of the Italian Renaissance rear-wheel drive pack, and I have to say, it's not looking very good. We haven't had a final where the requirements were very tasty for quite a while now. But yes, starting us off, we have 22 Italian Renaissance rear-wheel drive cars. 14 of them are RQ57 and below, and 8 of them are RQ58 and above. So, you know, if that matters to you, 14 of the Ultra Rares out of 22 are lower tier Ultras, and then 8 of them are higher tier Ultras. So in a way, you have a higher chance of getting a lower tier Ultra than a higher tier Ultra. So when you open this pack, yeah, just kind of expect an RQ19 or an RQ20. But with that said, let's get into it. So we start with the Maserati Shamal, which, you know, it's an RQ50 car. Next, we have another RQ50 car, the Maserati Ghibli Cup, and then another RQ50 car, the Lamborghini Miura S. Now, 50 is the lowest of the low when it comes to Ultra. That doesn't mean it's bad, but it usually means it's bad because, like, the Shamal and the Ghibli, I've never seen them used anywhere. The Miura has some use because it has a niche, but then again, it usually loses to the Miura SV anyway, but it's still not a bad car because it does hit, I think, 3.5, 0 to 60 if you max it out 996. So this one's not bad. I would be okay with this, but then again, if I did get it, I would fuse it because, like I said, the SV is just better. Moving on is the Maserati Ghibli. This is like the if the RQ19 BMW was Italian, this is like the car that kind of just embodies it perfectly. This is the car I would want to get the least. I've already unpacked it 3-4 times in my Top Drives career, and I have to say it's one of the most boring cars to get. I don't like this one at all. It's quite useless as well. Moving on is the Lamborghini Countach LP400. This one's a Blossom choice. It's really good for 1 miles and test bowls, especially test bowls because it's the best ultra rare car for the test bowl. It will beat anything, BTRs, Maloo, I was gonna say Evo 4, but of course you wouldn't put an Evo 4 in a test bowl. It will also beat, what are some really good contenders? Tuscan, Tamora. So this is a very good one. You'd be happy to get this if you open the pack. Moving on is the Lamborghini Countach LP400S. This is like the bad version of the Thanos Countach. I mean, yes, you can argue that this is handling, but then you have the LP500, which has even more handling. So what's the point of this? Moving on to the Alfa Romeo Tipo 33 Stradale. This car isn't bad. It's very light. It's a great car park car. It's a great slalom car. If you are familiar with the, I think it's called the Giulia, which is a RQ, I think it's a super rare. It's a super rare. I think it's RQ41. or maybe 42. That's a very good one too. It's kind of like, this is like a better version of that car. Very light, decent handling, low 0 to 60. Max it out is going to be 4.487, I think. But yeah, it's pretty good. Moving on, this is the car I'm talking about, the Lamborghini Miura SV. This is also a keeper, so I wouldn't be mad if I got this because it has a good 0 to 60, 0.1 faster than the other Miura that we saw, and it has better handling than the other Miura that we saw as well. It's a decent car for a fast circuit. In fact, it will beat the Thanos Countach on the fast circuit, and it will beat the Thanos Countach on a quarter mile and a half mile. So this is a quarter mile and a half mile car. It's actually pretty good. I use it a lot in clubs, so I wouldn't be mad at this one. I wouldn't mind getting 2 maxed out actually. And honestly, if you have 2 of the SVs, you won't need the green one because it's only a 3 RQ difference. It's not that big. But yeah, moving on is the Maserati Quattroporte, and I have to say this pack has literally like every Maserati in the game. Almost every single one. I think there's like 2 4-wheel drive Maseratis. Everything else is rear-wheel drive, so you're gonna see like all of it. Then this is the Lamborghini Countach LP500S. This is the better version of the other Lamborghini that people argue has handling, has more handling than the Thanos Countach. This is just the better one. This is like the top dog Countach for the ultra rare range. Once again, I do have this. It has decent MRA, but you know, it's kind of an all-rounder car that never gets used, right? I have it maxed out, but I barely ever use it. Only when you need like Italian cars that handle, then I guess it's not bad, 79. But then you have cars like the Assetto Corsa that's 81. So, you know, but yeah, moving on is the Maserati 3200 GT Assetto Corsa, along with the Spider Grand Sport and the Alfetta GT Rally version, all fused. Besides the Rally version, if you kind of just want to diversify your off-road hand, so you get this, you have the 037, you have the Nissan Silvia, 924, Rally spec. You know, I wouldn't mind getting one each because I feel like they all have their own niche. But then again, this one, the only niche that this thing covers is Italian off-road. It's a pretty good Italian off-road car because there isn't a lot. But then again, it's still overshadowed by the Lancia 037, which we'll be seeing in a bit. Moving on is the Maserati Tipo 61 Birdcage. Amazing car. This one is super light. I think the MR, I don't know what the MR is on this, honestly. I think it's okay though. The top speed is decent. The 0 to 60 is low. I think a lot of people were saying this car is great for the slalom. I personally don't own this car myself. I love how there's a Shell logo on it. I personally don't own this car myself, but if I would max it out, and I have a couple people telling me, oh, this car is actually really good. It's also a 50s car. Obviously, we don't see 50s events a lot, or 60 events, or whatever. But still, you know, it does have some niche categories to it. It also has the Sub-Zero tag, which is really cool. One of 2 cars in the game that has the Sub-Zero tag, I believe. Moving on to the Maserati Quattroporte. I recently maxed this out, and I have to say, this car is absolutely horrendous. It's really bad. Compared to all the other standard tire, medium ground clearance, rear-wheel drive cars in the game, this car is like one of the worst. The only reason why I maxed it out is because it has a niche. It's kind of like the Alfetta, being that, you know, this is the only standard tire Italian Renaissance car in the game. That's ultra. It's the only ultra standard tire Italian Renaissance car. So that makes it super niche, and that's why I maxed it out. Unlike the Alfetta. The Alfetta has at least some competition with the Lancia 037. This one doesn't have any competition at all in the ultra range. This is the only one. This is the only standard tire Italian Renaissance standard tire car. Anyway, moving on is the Maserati Grand Cabrio, and obviously now we're moving on to the higher ranks with the 58s. Maserati Coupe Grand Sport. I recently maxed this out just because I like the picture. I don't think I'll get a lot of use out of it. Moving on is the Maserati Grand Cabrio MC, along with the Abarth 030. Once again, this is a Blossom choice, along with the Countach. A really good car. 4.0 0 to 60, 95 handling. Think of the Volkswagen TCR, but just a little faster to 60. This is what this car is, and also rear-wheel drive instead of front-wheel drive. It's a really good car. I really like using it. Very light as well. It's just, I don't know. I love this car a lot, and I know it's really easy to get because it's the only ultra rare Fiat. So if a Fiat carbon fiber comes out, which they do from time to time, you have a 100% chance of getting the 030 unless you go epic. You can't get legendary, so it's either this or you go epic. But honestly, although it's a really good car, it's just not worth spending $15 for a carbon fiber to get it. That's just my opinion. But still, it's a really good car to have multiple of. Moving on is the Lancia 037 Rally. This is a car that I've been wanting for quite a while. Huge fan of this. It's not the best off-road ultra rare by any means, but it's the best off-road ultra rare for Italian cars. So the 037 Rally is definitely one to get. Also, it has a high top speed, so it's going to beat cars like the 924 and the Ford Escort Rally, and even the Nissan Silvia on drags because of that high top speed. So honestly, if I do get this, I will 996 it. I'm not joking. I will 996 it because I'm only going to be using it for clubs, for off-road events with drags in it. So There you go. Moving on is the Maserati Quattroporte Sport GTS, along with the Maserati Gran Turismo. This car is just shy of a Blossom score. It's definitely a keeper though. It's pretty good. The only thing, it's pretty heavy, but the stats are really all around, right? There's a high top speed. It gets a low 0 to 60. It goes to under 4 seconds when you max it out, and the handling goes over 90. So honestly, that's kind of the benchmark for RQ64 performance tire rear-wheel drive cars, right? Under 4 seconds 0 to 60 and over 90 handling maxed out. So this car definitely fills up the marks. It lives up to its expectations. That's all I would say. Moving on to epics now. Once again, we do see a trend where the majority of the cars that you can unpack in the rarity are on the lower side. So there are 16 epics you can get from this pack. 11 of them are RQ72 and below. So 11 of them are lower tier epics, and then 5 of them are higher tier epics. Now this is what really makes the pack really disgusting, because there are a lot of epics in here that are going to be useless for the finals, and there's a higher chance that you're going to get a useless epic, an epic that wouldn't help you in the final, than an epic that will help you in the final. So yeah, Lamborghini Countach 25th. We have the Fiat X19 Dallara, the 124 Spider Rally. This one might help you if they're twisty tracks, honestly, because it's very light. It has low 0 to 60, high handling. So this one would have been bad. I would keep tabs on this if I were you. But moving on, you got the Countach 5000, the Ghibli SQ. Oh, sorry, this car is mistake. This car is not supposed to be here because 4-wheel drive. But we have this one, the Gran Turismo MC Stradale, the Quattroporte GTS, the Diablo, the 8C Spider, Diablo SV, and the Gallardo LP550. I mean, and the SE. So yeah, every car was just absolute trash. None of these are gonna help you in the final. The only thing that might help you is the Maserati Quattroporte GTS, because this is the only one that has medium, and everything else is like low. So if there is city streets in the final, then yes, the Quattroporte will come in handy, but everything else, the Diablos, the 8C, I mean the 8C is decent handling, but it's still not going to beat the actual cars that are going to win you the prize car. So all these cars are pretty much insignificant. They are useless. Moving on though is the Alfa Romeo Disco Volante 4087. I want to compare this really quickly because 4087 3985, and this car is definitely lighter as well. So that's going to be an interesting comparison between those cars. The Disco Volante, I feel like the Disco Volante will still be a little better, although it's a little slower 0 to 60. It just has so much more handling by 2 points. But yeah, it really shows you that that slick tire Fiat is actually not that bad. But yeah, here you go, the Alfa Romeo Disco Volante 8C. That one's decent. This one's a good one too. Pagani's on the C12, amazing MRI of 100, really good handling of 88. And then we have the Lamborghini Gallardo LP550-2. This is the car that's going to win you the prize car. I guarantee you. If it's not legendary, this is the car that's going to win you the prize car. This is the epic that's going to win you the prize car. I guarantee you, if you have 5 of these maxed out, you're fine. That Bugatti is basically yours. This car is so good, right? 88.8 MRA, and it has the exact same stats as the legendary 1993788. 1993788. I know what you're thinking. Why is this legendary then, right? Because probably better MRA. Well, according to Top Drive's Club, this has 88.8 MRA. This is 88.1. So the epic is actually better in MRA and has the same exact stats as the legendary. So I know what you might be thinking. Why is this thing a legendary then? The only thing I could find that was different is weight. This car is about, I think, 80 kgs lighter. That's it. So yeah, that's it. This is legendary because it's lighter. It doesn't even have better MRA. I mean, yes, the MRA is basically almost identical. It's 88.8 to 88.1, but that's it. Honestly, it's a cool picture and it's a nice looking car, but I'll be sorry for you if you open this pack and got this car, because when you think about it, you need to max it out to tie with the maxed out epic version. You might win in some of the twisties, but you're not going to win in like the long drags, because this has slightly better MRA and you know their stats are identical. So yeah, I mean, that's tough. If you get this car, that's just tough, because the chances are you're only going to 1-star it and it's still going to lose to the epic version. So you want a gun for this and you don't want a gun for this, right? And yes, this is obviously a Blossom Choice Gallardo. But moving on with the Pagani Zonda S, this car is pretty cool. It's Richard Hammond's favorite car, along with the Lancia New Stratos. I'm not gonna be too judgmental on the rest of the legendaries besides the first Gallardo that we saw, just because, you know, there are legendaries, so they are pretty decent, besides the first one that we saw. Alongside with this, we have the Huracan rear-wheel drive Spider, and you can tell that this is a rear-wheel drive, just a twit, because if you look in the thing over here, there's like a line in this hole, in this vent. So yeah. Moving on is a Lamborghini Huracan rear-wheel drive. I would love this one actually. 3.389 is a really cool picture. I just wish they zoomed out a bit, and I think that would be one of the nicest pictures in the game because I love the angle, I love the color, and it's a good looking car. So, and it's in motion as well. Moving on to Lancia Monte Carlo Turbo. I do have this one, so that one's decent. If there's any rain, I'm screwed for the finals. But if there's any dry drags, this is probably one of the best cars to get because it has 3.50 to 60, which isn't like the fastest. Like this one is faster to 60. But then this has an MRI of like 105, so this is actually really, really good. Moving on is the Bugatti Huayra Roadster, which is the second best car, and then the best car you can get is the Bugatti Zonda R. Slick tires, 2.50 to 60, 93 handling, very, very good. So with that said, let's get back into my account and let me give you my verdict. What I think about the Italian Renaissance pack, the Italian Renaissance rear-wheel drive pack, it's not very good. It's not the worst I've seen, but it's definitely not the best I've seen. I would say it goes under average, just slightly under average in terms of a pack. The Ultras are weak. You have a higher chance of getting a weaker Ultra. The Epics are weaker. You have a higher chance of getting a weaker Epic as well. So, you know, those aren't very good odds. But then the Legendaries are nice. I would say all of the Legendaries are actually quite nice to get, besides the RQ80 Gallardo. Everything else is decent. The Monte Carlo is great. The Pagani's are amazing. And honestly, you kind of leapfrog all the crappy Lambos, all the Diablo, all the low RQ82, 83 Diablos. But the only Joker card is that one RQ80 Gallardo, which is like, that's just unlucky if you get it on. That is unlucky if you get it because you got lucky with the stats. You got a 2.5% chance drop on the worst car. So that's, yeah. The Epics, once again, the Epics aren't very good. Most of them are pretty bad. I would say the takeaways would be the Fiat, the Gallardo, obviously LP550, as well as the Disco Volante, and the and I already said the Fiat, and the Pagani C12. But once again, most of the Epics aren't very good. The Ultras, again, the Ultras not very good as well. I would take away the 030 would be a good one. The 037 would be a good one. But once again, you know, should you open this pack? No, I don't think so, but usually when I say don't open a pack, you guys open it anyway, and you usually get legendaries as well. That's what I saw of the last pack. I remember the last bad pack, I said not to open. You guys did it anyway, and I think like 2 or 3 of you actually got a legendary after doing it anyway. So like, I don't know if there's some kind of weird superstition going on, but once again, I'm gonna say, yeah, I'm not gonna condone this pack. It's not a very good pack. Will I open it? I might open 1, but definitely I won't be opening like 15 or 5 or 3. I might just open 1. But that's just because I want to have a chance of getting a Pagani Huayra Roadster. But once again, you know, open the pack if you really want a Veyron. If you really want a Veyron prize car. If you already have the Chiron and you want all the Veyron prize cars, definitely, you know, you have a chance there. Or if you don't have a Bugatti yet, and this is like your only chance of getting a Bugatti, because getting a Bugatti from a pack is very, very rare, and I know everybody wants a Bugatti in top drives, right? So yeah, I guess if you really want this prize car, you can't open the pack. I mean, you kind of need to, right? But you'll need to be lucky, and you need to get the right cars. Then yeah, but in a general sense, if you're not interested in the prize car, if you're not going to compete, if you just want a pack to open, there are better packs to open than the Italian Renaissance rear-wheel drive pack. So with that said, hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I hope you found it useful, and hope you guys have a great day. Remember to wash your hands, and I'll see you all next time. Blossom out.